House Bill, thank you, 1152, 1153, pardon me. Senator Whaley, I'll recognize you to explain that bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1153, this is the exact bill that we passed out of the Senate earlier, dealing with food labeling in conjunction with the bill we passed last year. This bill would include cell cultured dairy products, meaning they would not be able to replicate or substitute for milk, anything that is derived from animal cell cultures outside of the live animal. In the Ag Committee, we also adjusted that it would not go, that this would not be subject to a special fund, that this would be subject to general funds. And we also took out a provision to where the department could hire outside counsel and just left it with the Attorney General. And that is a brief explanation, and I would yield for any questions.
Are there questions? We'll hold on. Apparently, some of the members don't have a copy of the bill. Senator Wiggins, did you have a question? Senator McCon, did you have a question? You think, pardon?
I believe that there's an amendment to this bill that we cleared up in committee, so it takes out a couple things in there.
What is it?
Good with it.
That is correct. The amendment, of course, was the general fund, changing from special fund to general fund, and then the outside counsels. You remember that was your amendment in committee, so that, well, it's there, I promise.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the amendment? Motion by Senator McCon. Any questions or discussion? Not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now, final passage, Senator McCon. Motion is titled sufficient to pass as amended. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Whaley. Also, I'm looking for Senator Boyd. You're here. I'm going to go ahead and take yours up now, which is House Bill 562. And you are recognized to explain that. That's on the bottom of your list, members of the committee. Can you get a microphone, Senator?
This is the bill that y'all have seen already. This is the upskill bill. This is the bill that would basically provide last dollar tuition and fees for those that are age 25 and above in a pilot program to be done and to be overseen by Accelerate Mississippi. We'll be looking at those jobs that are particularly needed in the state. So there's a high workforce demand too. And this would just be mostly last dollar estimated around, with looking at other programs that have been done in other states. You're estimating around about $700 is what they're predicting that it would be for the participants who participate in that. And I can go into that further, but I know y'all have already heard it on the floor as we've gone through this. This is our bill that we've put in here. Also in here too, we have the bridge program. The bridge program really asked the Department of Education to do a planning committee to look at CTE and special needs. It's a bill that we passed overwhelmingly in the Senate. And so this has these two things in here, really kind of looking at a continuum of programs now that will really try to make sure that we are aligning ourselves with workforce development. So that's an explanation. And there is a reverse repealer in the bill. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Senator Turner Ford, you recognize for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Boyd, is this, you mentioned it's a pilot. Is it restricted anyway by area? What is it that makes it a pilot program?
Well, this would really be a pilot and we would all looking at those high priority growth sectors. And so Accelerate would really identify where those are to make sure that the people that we're training, we know that there is employment ready for them in those high sector, high needs jobs. And that would be really the pilot nature of that, and really tracking that data to make sure that this is really an efficacious use of funds for us.
Thank you, Senator Turner Ford. Senator Dupree, question.
Senator Boyd, thank you. I think this is well needed. So did I hear you say that this targets 25-year-olds? So they've graduated from school, or they could not have graduated. Does it distinguish whether they graduated or not?
So what the bill does, it really really looks at those people that are out into the workforce and that need upskilling. We know that we have a workforce that is in tremendous need of upskilling. It also really plays into that maturity factor. People that have matured and they're really looking for that next level to upskill their degree attainment. And so that's really what it's focused on.
Okay. So it starts at 25. Is there an age that you're not able to? No, it doesn't. Okay. So is it administered then by the junior colleges? Is that what it's going to be?
It will be overseen by Accelerate, and they will be working with the particular community colleges where there is a high demand job that is needed.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Senator Dupree. Are there other questions? Seeing none, Senator Boyd, your motion.
Motion is title sufficient to pass, propose committee sub.
Strike all.
Strike all, sorry.
Thank you, Senator Boyd. Motion title sufficient to pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. Now moving back up to the top of our list, House Bill 1393. This is a measure that comes to us from MDA and the governor's office related to an energy infrastructure fund. We had a version of this in our Senate appropriations for consideration. I intentionally did not take it up because I felt like that we put money into the site development grant fund and we put 18 million into it. I have spoken with MDA and spoken with the governor about this. They would like to keep this alive, keep this fund available. They think there's a possibility to draw down some resources from either DOE or other outside sources. Certainly would like to have other funds that the legislature may appropriate, but we did put 18 million towards site development grant. The proposed strike all in front of you has the language to set up the fund. As you'll see, the language that's in the first section that sets up this fund, and it explains the reasons for effectively utilizing the state's energy infrastructure and encouraging economic development growth. This did strip out the language that dealt with getting around state procurement laws, and this also is doubly referred to AET should it pass this committee. I will yield for questions at this time. Question, Senator Seymour.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Why would this not allow our utility providers from being eligible for a direct funding from this grant?
Why would it not allow that?
Yeah.
Well, it might be able to be allowed through this fund.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there other questions? Seeing none.
Title sufficient, do pass, strike all.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is moving to House Bill 1646. This is the Disaster Assistance Trust Fund. This is a proposal that would put in change in the current law from allowing $1 million per occurrence and $2 million per fiscal year for disaster assistance, going to 2.5 million per occurrence and 5 million per year to be taken out of the working cash stabilization fund. So out of our rainy day fund, in the event that there's a significant natural disaster, it would give the DFA, MEMA through DFA, the ability to pull down some additional funds. Again, 2.5 million per occurrence and up to 5 million per year before there was additional legislative language. That's what's in this bill. I will yield for questions if there are any. This is strike all too, isn't it? It is. That's a strike all in front of you. Are there questions?
No questions, title sufficient. Sorry, Senator Hill, there's a question.
Who's got a question? I'm sorry. Oh, Senator Hill, you're recognized.
Can you give an example of how just one example of how these funds would be used?
Sure. For instance, in the ice storm this year, they would currently have the ability to pull down $1 million out of our rainy day fund for uses related to the ice storm or a hurricane or a tornado. This would up that from the 1 million per occurrence to 2.5 million per occurrence. And this would up the annual amount they could take out from $2 million to $5 million.
So you're speaking of MEMA?
Correct. It would come through, DFA, but it would be MEMA that would utilize this.
And this money have to be spent in-house? I mean, or would they be able to transfer grants with it, or is this strictly MEMA?
This is just for MEMA, Disaster Assistance Trust Fund.
I knew we had another one. I just want to make sure I wasn't confusing the two. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. We do have a few floating around. Obviously, we got the 20 million that we sent down to the House for the utilization to help MEMA. And of course, MEMA already had some deficit requests. And in addition, I know Senator Delano has been working tirelessly on a lot of MEMA issues right now. So there's still, there's a lot of floating around between the two chambers right now on some things to assist MEMA. Other questions? If not, I think Senator DeBar, were you making the motion?
Title sufficient, do pass, strike all.
Motion is title sufficient to pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next, moving to the proposed strike all on 1649. This bill comes to us related to something I think we've passed, 2 or 3 years now, Corbin, on the Main Street Revitalization Grant Fund. That has been vetoed a couple of times. It's our understanding that whatever complications there were have been worked out. And so this is $9,821,328 from the Capital Expense Fund to the Mississippi Main Street Revitalization Grant Fund. Our strike all does take out I think it was just a typo error in the House bill that dealt with a blank transfer in Section 1. But other than that deletion, it should be what you have from the House to authorize the expenditure out of capital expense funds for the Main Street Revitalization Program that we previously passed. I'll yield for questions. Senator, you got a question, Senator Sparks? You recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just this total is based on the prior grants, then none of that changes, no additions, no reductions.
No changes to the prior grants.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Sparks. Seeing no other questions.
Title sufficient, do pass, strike all.
Motion is title sufficient to pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Moving on to 1650. This is the bill that we passed already in the Senate related to making sure that all the funds that are out there, which are all over the place, are obtaining interest. And if there's no activity, this gives the treasurer and the director of DFA the authority to consolidate those funds unless there's some statutory reason not to. This is about bill we passed, identical bill we passed in the Senate already. I think it was unanimous in the Senate, if I remember correctly, but that's all we're doing is just keeping this measure alive. I think the House may be looking at our Senate version too, but this is a good bill I'd like to keep alive for now. I'll yield for questions if there are any.
Title sufficient, do pass.
Seeing none, motion title sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is 1651. The proposed strike all in front of you deals with one specific problem. We've got one agency in particular, which is Archives and History, but I think we've got a few others, maybe Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, and trying to think who else might have this situation where agencies, which we previously had said that state agencies can use other state agencies' property for rental purposes without paying any fees. So we cut out the pass-throughs. If y'all remember, some of y'all that have been here for a while, we cut out those pass-throughs 6 or 8, 10 years ago. I can't remember. But anyway, I know we've had this instance at the 2 museums where a lot of agencies are using the space rent-free. And while if it's a state agency, we want them to be able to use some of our state space, it's gotten to a point where they can't use it for other things that actually help pay for the cost. So when private groups come in, they pay a rental fee. And this would just hopefully give them a chance to plan a little bit better. So we don't have state agencies reserving some of our prime locations. And then they would only have to pay, the state agency would only have to pay 50% of the fair market value. So if an outside group had to pay $1,000 for the rental, the state agency would pay $500. But they would still have to pay something because I know Archives and History has been hit with this. And I think Wildlife, Fisheries, and there was maybe one other, Corbin, maybe Ag too, that has has had to face this as well. So that's what this proposed strike all does, and I will yield for questions. Senator Dupree, you recognize.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I'm looking at the title. It says, it reads, spending for private, personal, or professional services.
That's all been stripped out, Senator Dupree. That was the bill that came down from the House, but that,
That's all been stripped out?
that's all been taken out.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And this does have a reverse repealer in it, so it's gonna have to go further conference if it's to get passed. Other questions?
Title sufficient, do pass, strike all.
The motion is titled sufficient to pass strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is House Bill 1653. This is the Local Improvements Project Fund, but it also includes fixes that we've done previously. The only change, well, what we did is took our language that we passed out of the Senate, which included that one change for Mississippi Valley State to be able to change for repair and renovations of what was a new, or I'm sorry, to build a new residence hall to allow them to use the money for repair and renovations of an existing residence hall or residence halls. And so that language is in the bill. We need to keep this bill alive because we may end up having a lot of our local project changes that need to be made in this bill. And I'm trying to get a little bit of information. Assuming we get this bill out of committee today, I may have an announcement tomorrow on some stuff that I need to talk with y'all about, but I'm working that through the process and speaking to some House members about this, because this will end up being a vehicle that might deal with some changes and amendments. I know some of you have those in your districts. But for now, again, reverse repealer, it puts in our Mississippi Valley State language, and everything else is as we previously passed. I'll yield for questions. Seeing none, Senator DeBar.
Title sufficient, do pass, strike all.
Motion is titled sufficient to pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We're going to skip the next item because that's my understanding. We've got an agreement on a Senate bill that will be taken up on the TRICARE proposal that we've already passed. And we'll move to House Bill number 1. In fact, the next 4 bills, I'm going to recognize Senator Wiggins to handle, and we'll start with House Bill number 1. Senator Wiggins, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pull that mic a little closer.
I'm just trying to get to it. Mr. Chairman, yeah, this comes to us from the House. It's actually a cleanup bill from the judicial redistricting last year. It only affects one area of the state. If you look at lines 35 to 38, it's dealing with that area right there. That Chancery District, excuse me, there was some, as we explained in Judiciary A, there was a lot going on in judicial redistricting. This was an oversight, and so we are addressing that. And in terms of money appropriation, there would be an appropriation for the one judge in this area that we did not have in the budget last year on that. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions?
If no questions, title sufficient, do pass, Mr. Chairman.
Motion from Senator Wiggins is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on to House Bill 1218.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill, this is the House's bill dealing with the youth court computer system. What we have done, we had our version of the bill, so the strike all before you is our bill into their bill. And just to remind the committee, through an audit that was done, the state has been advised that the youth court system is honestly outdated and antiquated. The cost of that computer system is $8.75 million. That has been worked into the budget. I will tell you, we certainly have been planning for it. Let me put it that way. And so what the what the House bill did was simply brought forward the code section with a repealer. What we've done is referenced the change to the new system. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have a question?
Okay, title sufficient do pass, Mr. Chairman.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass, strike all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. You're recognized for 1654.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is simply a vehicle to keep alive. And I will have a little more explanation when we get to the next bill, but you've heard me explain from the floor about the operations fund that's dealing with fees and assessments paid in and that covers operations of the Supreme Court. So this is just our strike all bill into theirs as a vehicle.
Are there questions?
Title sufficient do pass, Mr. Chair.
Being none, the motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor, strike all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. You're recognized now for 1752, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I do have an amendment at the proper time. What this is the code sections, as well as fees associated with the salaries of our judges. And to do a little explanation, this is where we've been talking about looking at the Judicial Operation Fund. And what we have done is, you'll see in the bill, we've had to raise fees to ensure that obligations have outpaced the revenue being brought in by the assessments and fees in our chancery court system, in county court system. And so what we've done is we've raised the fees there. Now, the question becomes, why are we in that situation? The reason we are there is because, for various reasons over certainly a decade, raises have been given. There's raises connected from judges, district attorneys. They've all been connected. So when we give a raise, that leads to other obligations, which goes back to my comment about the operations fund. The money has not kept the revenue has not kept pace with that. The AOC has been using general fund dollars. In other words, when it's actually meant to come out of the operations fund. So what this is doing is one, raising the fees, and that's basically a 50% raise for 2 years. And we've then in another 2 years that it will go up again. Also, we have tightened down the language to prevent raises being done without the legislator's approval. Or put it another way, we have to sign off on it, and the SPB has to provide us information of the salaries, and do that on a once every 4-year basis to do that. And then Mr. Chairman, I would like to do my amendment. Thank you. I would like to do my amendment at the proper time. Yeah, amendment to the strike all before we adopt the strike all.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's take your amendment to the strike all now.
Okay, so my amendment, and I'll explain it, is to amend on line 848, adding before the colon through December 31st, 2027. And then after line 848, by adding the language $150,100. And then after line 840, before line 849, putting in from and after January 1, 2028. Now, when we did the when LBR came forward and we passed those, the raises were factored in at that time. So what we are doing is giving the raises at the LBR, freezing for this 2-year period. And then that's where the from and after January 2028 comes in. And we're gonna look at those as we come back. So that's the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
And Senator, this is the raises for DAs after 2028, correct?
that's
This is
correct.
not the judicial raise. This is the DA raise that's tied to the salaries of the judges. And that would take effect after 2028.
Yes, thank you for that
Okay.
clarification. And do know that we gave DAs raises last year. We've also last year increased raises for investigators in the DA's office. We also, in the last 2 years, have raised the salaries of the office allowance for the judges. So we've done a fair amount, well, more than a fair amount addressing those. So that, to Chairman Hobson's point, that's why we're freezing that to look at those. Last year, we did tie the DAs back to the judges, so we're keeping that in place, but we're doing a freeze on that.
And that would be after the next election, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you for that proposed amendment. Senator Dupree, question on the amendment? You recognize?
Senator Wiggins.
Yeah,
So I want to understand this. So this uses 1980 census numbers, correct?
I don't understand the question.
This proposed is this is based on, as I read this, 1980 census population.
What is?
The salaries based on population. If I'm on the right one, 1752.
I don't know anything about census. The salaries have continued to be provided, and there's a system by every 4 years we look at a salary raise.
Hey,
I
Senator, if I can address that, I think what you're looking at is the existing law, and that's related to, there's a lot of other code sections that brought into this. That includes the county court judges. And so some of those county court judges were set up based on the censuses in previous years.
Okay.
So whatever county that would have been, it would be, for instance, on that one would be whatever county was between 27,000 and 60,000 citizens on the 1980 federal census that met other requirements. And that's the way a lot of those county court judgeships were set up at some point or another, that they had a certain population based on a certain year's census. And so that's just old language that, and really, I'm not aware of any county court judges that have ever asked to be taken away. Usually once they're stood up, they stay in that county court system.
But as I continue to read, Mr. Chairman, it says that if they pay more than $30,000, and because it's cursory, I mean, that they are made full-time, they can't be part-time anymore. That's still just old law. Is it followed by counties, or is this just something that's in the law?
Well, the state had to give the counties the ability to stand up those judges, and the county court judges are paid partially with state funds and partially with county funds. And that's something Senator Wiggins and I have talked about at length is, what's the fair percentage? And we all ought to be aware of that. What's the fair amount for counties to pay, because they've asked for the privilege of standing up these county court judges. And of course, they do handle things that affect state, some criminal matters and other things that normally would be borne by the state. But a lot of it is just local kind of county business. They needed another judge in the county, so they bear a certain burden, financial burden to stand up those judges.
But if they go past 30,000, then they're full-time and not part-time.
Well, what do you mean past 30,000?
Yeah.
If the supervisors vote to increase the salary by at least $30,000, they're not part-time anymore.
That's what line you're looking at?
All of those are full-time. All those county court judges are
Didn't
full-time
roll
positions
off there.
now. I'm not aware of any that are
Yeah.
part-time.
Yeah, I would concur with that. I know of no county court judge that is part-time.
Along the same line, we'd had the census in there, but I'm good with it. So,
Thank you,
Thank you.
Senator Dupree. Are there other questions on the proposed amendment? Senator McClendon?
On line, start at 314, where we revise the different numbers,
Yes.
the fees.
Yep.
Does that go to a general fund or does that go to the special fund?
No, so I'll best explain it this way, and I would call on Corbin if I'm mistaken, but those fees go in, are collected by the court system, like the one you're looking at, line 313, the general docket fee. So that gets collected and then the courts send that to AOC, correct? They send it to AOC. Now, the the judicial operations fund that I was talking about, that was to go into there. Okay, these fees were going in there to operate things. However, that's what I meant by these fees that you're seeing in this section. We're not keeping up, or those fees are not enough for the obligations that have been done. And when I say obligations, the raises that we've given actually are, generally speaking, have been in line with where we are. The problem, if there is, that we haven't addressed this, and so we're addressing it now. So that was to go into those fees. When we, where it stands now is we did an amendment where the fees would go into the general fund, okay, based on what we've passed earlier. That issue is to be decided as we go through, which is the reason for the previous bill we did, the Judicial System Operation Fund. If we decide to go back to that, then that's the vehicle by which we can do that. So I'm sorry for the long explanation, but that's how it's operating right now.
But these fees are not costing the counties.
No,
correct?
they're user. So
The
when
user
when
fees.
you file your lawsuit,
Right.
then that gets tacked on and the clerks do a cost bill and that gets paid by the users.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McClendon. Other questions? Seeing none, Senator Wiggins, your motion to amend.
Move adoption of the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions on that amendment, proposed amendment? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it now.
Move adoption of the strike all as amended.
Motion is to adopt title sufficient due pass, the strike all as, actually motion to adopt the strike all as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Now, Senator, you're recognized, the ayes have it. You recognize for final passage.
Title sufficient due pass, strike all as amended.
Motion title sufficient to pass strike all as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, that will go back to Judiciary A as it came from Judiciary A. So that
You have a
will,
meeting this afternoon,
so
don't you?
Judiciary has a meeting right after this meeting,
Okay.
and it likely will be also
A short meeting,
continued.
likely
Yeah.
a short meeting, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to rise and report. All in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Senator Turner Ford. Ayes have it.